Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Who's gonna stand up for the land? Human race, we share one name, we share one fate, we share one story we can change. Our story up to now, does it seem too big to face? Dreamers of the dream, in unity we can find a better way. Oh, the love of this land we hold in our heart right from the start. Believe in love, on and on, together. I can hear it and feel it. We will stand, won't look the other way. Speak the words of love in our hearts. We are strong creators, each and every one. We go forward, onward, upward in unity. Sing and heal the nation. For future generations, let love rule these lands. Beyond fear, beyond hatred. Songs of togetherness fill the air. Sing free and yes and song and light, leaving space for thoughts on high and dreams to see the light of day. Telling you stories of who we are and what we can achieve. Dreamers of the dream, what's it gonna be? We create our destiny there. Clean water, clean air. Yes, we care. We're aware. What we dream will be. Dream big, dream often, and dream deep. Dream a dream of one, where we are one and there is plenty. No more hunger, fear, or poverty. War, a distant memory. See the skies blue and clear. Oceans are clean and teeming with life. Forests and jungles return and cover the land, and the animals return in plentiful numbers. The calls of strange birds fill the air. We're in tune with them, we commune with them. While deep down in the deep blue sea, whales dive down deeper and deeper. Dive down ancient mystery which no sunlight penetrates. Sail on, whales, sail on.
Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. Joined here today in person with a transcendent character trying to get out of his own way, and Farmer Dave Scher.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
What an honor, my man. Welcome to the program, dude.
Hello, everybody. We're live. How's that? Very cool. Doesn't it feels exciting?
I'm glad you're. I mean, for me, it's feeding me on my journey. But Let me ask you about why did you talk to the audience about why you went to Ojai, California?
Well, I think for one, I'd had a very charmed life up till that point, and everything that had come across me as an opportunity, we lived it, including having a lot of fun and what John Prine might call an illegal smile from time to time. But ultimately, my friends and I were all good kids, good upbringings, and we made a lot of music, presented a lot of entertainment, and participated in a lot of co-creative artistic endeavors. And at the same time, had a feeling of concern for the world, of wanting to be part of something, and I suppose an arm's length approach to the inevitability of some of the larger problems we humans are facing. And I think I had a bit of an about face.
You said you lived a privileged life.
Yeah.
So my question, because you were talking about the talking stick.
Yeah.
And how even when you would get some surge in your chest or anybody in there, they'd you'd have to hold on to it, and it was not hyper reactive. And was that just a byproduct of the experience, or did you go in knowing that you were trying to evolve as a human being?
I knew I was trying to evolve as a human being. I left the city and left the things I had to learn from community and closeness to nature, and deeper access to First Nation traditions of conduct and counsel, right relationship with the earth, and also to focus in on principles that may have helped me in a more concentrated way be of service to humanity. And obviously we were goofballs up there, just like anywhere when you get together. It wasn't that dead serious, but yes, non-reactive communication, non-violent communication. The talking stick wasn't to cling on to cool out. Whoever had it was who talked. And when you're making decisions in a group and someone's going to say something, you get this pull in your chest when you don't agree. A lot of times, four people's hands would go up when one person said something. And what you're supposed to do is let the communication travel around the circle, and don't let it, not that you don't let it, but those initial reactions have a little time to dissipate as you learn to sit with them and not let them govern what you're going to do that affects other people. Because the reactivity, it's so easy to escalate, even amongst friends and family. It's so easy for things to get heated.
Well, Farmer Dave, I mean, what were you like in a band construct, in a democratic construct before that? Were you hot-headed? Were you reactive? And when you came back, whether it's with skiffle players or the Wizards of the West or Beechwood Spark, I mean, have you seen an evolution in your ability to create a muse that the cats can follow without it devolving into a fight?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was hot-headed, but the equivalent is either being a weirdo, shutting down, sulking.
Dig. No, you're spot on, yeah.
But also not stepping in to help if two other band members are doing that. Or I think the main difference that it's like a bypass. If you want to think of them as cheats, they're not, but we have a lot of pitfalls. This one's a good, you want the highest good for those bandmates and to stay in the ultimate appreciation of how lucky you are to be with them. And if it's really de-escalated to the point where that's not possible, then the group itself is going to need another level of help. But in the day-to-day, man, yeah, it was sort of like I learned to, if something affected me, the ultimate good of that other person in the band would balance it out. And sometimes you're talking about an album cover, or you're talking about a decision to allow someone to live on the farm or not, a decision to use a large investment of your time and energy in a way that doesn't reflect you. But that's what being in a group is. Your solo project, you can max out on it, and some of those battles you might want to win, and you might be surprised when you lose them down the road. It's like, hey, that wasn't so bad, man.
The first Skiffle Players album you guys were sitting there with like almost 24 tunes.
Yeah,
And
just under.
and it was everybody was from the band was there and trying to figure out, you were trying to figure out what you were going to put on the album, and it was a dialogue, and you said it was almost like a fight, and then Cass McComb said, this is why I want a band.
That's exactly right.
This is why I want a band, man.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
As opposed to a solo career or some soulless thing. He's like, I want to have these debates, and then you said that took the edge off it ever being a fight. It was just, so I want you to take us through that and how you came up with that many songs, and then what were, maybe you can personalize it if not all your needs were met on the album.
No, my needs were met but not exceeded.
Thank you. Yeah, you got it.
I think as a producer on that first record, I just had a full instinct that was going to happen when we hit record. It's not just that Cass has a deep songbook, but the music we're pulling from, the stories of American and Irish music and traditional music, it's a vast flowing river, and once you want to be on that, you're never going to run out of tunes or the inspiration to play them in a new light. So that's a great thing. And Cass had called me up maybe around 2010 and said, yeah, I want a band. And after having been in a few bands, I said, good luck, brother. No freaking way, man. I'm ready to chillax. So we formed the Skiffle Players to support him at a festival I was helping with in Big Sur, and it was a really fun band. It was mostly Beachwood Sparks guys, but we never think of it as that. I don't sit there. I think
for the peeps, there's a lot of cats listening around the world who did that benefit gig.
Supporting Cass.
Yeah, it was like Neil or Dan Horn, those cats.
Yeah, I believe Dan was in it right at the get-go, and Aaron Spersky and myself. And I remember we rehearsed in a little hotel room up at Fernwood, and sounded quite good. And just the seed was planted. You know, Cass is a prolific writer, and the subject matter warranted an album just based on that gig. We knew it was going to work out,
And then this new album has a lot of your tunes on it. Cara?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, what is the significance of that tune?
I think that it's a declaration of the readiness to love, the kind of love that your mate could see you as her mate. For me, it's him and her. What does that make me? Binary? Something like that. There's no limit to what love can mean or what spectrum you are. But for me, Cara is dedicated to possibly a more specific individual than just a feminine principle. But for now, let's just say it's a declaration of the readiness, willingness, and ability to love and to be in a serious relationship.
Is it some kind of almost a priestess kind of thing, or is it?
Well, I think if you could say that to your lady, you could say, "You're my queen, you're my priestess." But we got to kind of keep the language familiar and just have that in place in the background.
Well, you were quoted as saying that the 21st century musician should look at a goal that honors and respects us in the moment.
Yeah.
As opposed to whatever the prototype was. Could you explain what the goals might have been? Because you were on that side of it. And then what do you mean by honors and respects us in the moment?
There's just one difference, and everyone has such different experience that this particular topic doesn't apply universally. But it's an approach that I've adopted compared to the past, which would have been that the ultimate success of your career might supersede how you treat people along the way, how you allow yourself to be treated, and the compromises you're willing to make to fit into a larger structure that supports and promotes music. That's so evolving right now. There's so many ways that people can be heard, like us right now, in the moment, flash. So the point being, for one, I said, Jake, it's early, but you're coming over because I respect this moment process and what you're doing. We're uniting our similar tribes, and we're sharing any love to the world. So that's a difference. You know, you might say, oh, the manager's like, sorry, Jake, I couldn't reach him. He's passed out. But Alan, the manager, is just on his login there. So the call came through. So that's just the point, man, is like...
Yeah, well, no, bring that back. Wrap it all together there. What's the point?
Well, that, like, you believe in the people around you. And yeah, you may want to be a great musician. You may want to be known for centuries. But at this stage, taking a pause in the moment to honor the relationships around, not just to burn bridges, not just to grab for a ring, just to get up there in front of people. You want to come up with people. And at this time, I think you want to bring up a community around you if you're a light. There's been a lot of idols. You could say, oh, he's like him or her. You could do that too. But for me, honoring the moment means seeing that we're at a stage when humans got to get more together. And if you're in a position to be able to make music and people hear you, if you're in a position where you're able to have enough free bandwidth and food, clothing, and shelter, then we got to think about the bigger picture at large, and the planet and the environment, and what we want that isn't quite happening yet for our culture. You know, we can't just roll the largest doobie in the world and sit back and point at the TV and go, what a bunch of weirdos. We are those weirdos. So that's honoring the moment too. We're a species, we're part of life, and the separation that we experience is an illusion that's been bought into for too long, but just by nature. But us and them, the myth of history isn't really here anymore. And there's a lot of people operating at the heart level who are coming into that, what you could call unity consciousness. When all life is sacred, you go about, you walk the earth, and you're back in the Garden of Eden, man. And I didn't mean to get this preachy on you.
Whimsical there's no whimsical finality to this. I mean, can you you're a sonic expander. Could you do a tune for the audience that's watching?
Yeah. I don't know if I want the slap back on my voice, but nice little bird.
Yeah, no, the Dolphy.
What is Dolphy?
Eric Dolphy loved bird sounds.
Who's he again? I know that name.
I mean, he's a multi-reedist legend. I mean, in the same vein as Coltrane and same generation.
All right, I'm going to turn down a little of this.
We're joined here by Farmer Dave Scher, who's a radio host in his own. One of the many things, guy's got a deep bag of rituals. I guess it's way more than
ritual de lo habitual. There's still some kind of cello in here. I don't think...
Why are you trying to get rid of the cello?
I think I shouldn't. So this is some of the people might not have heard that first song, which was called Endangered Species. This is called Rivers of Love. And without all the drums and stuff, it's going to be a little bit flowy. All right.
Belt it out.
All right. Let's see here. Hey, down in the valley, rivers of love, rivers of love. Hey, love is on the wind, rivers of love. Hey, out on the horizon, oceans of love, oceans of love. Love is on the way, rivers of love, seas of love, lost in the weight of the tale of the world, yet in the heart of everyone. Hey, love is gonna win, rivers of love, seas of love. Love is all. Love is all. Still got the love in.
Dude, very loose, man.
Yeah, I got a little I got a cacao shell in my throat at the end there. That was a loose version of a new song called Rivers of Love. And I've gotten used to having a band, you can tell, keep everything at a certain this or that. But it's fun to play it here at home like that. Let it go out the window.
Do you, where are you still growing at from a musical, on the bandstand? How are you continuing to grow? You just, you're FD in the Wizards of the West, for instance. I mean, is there a new challenge there musically, or is it spiritual? Riff on that, yeah.
The two-part challenge is, one, I'm getting more sophisticated music to me when I sit down to write stuff. Yeah, I have a lot of music piled up, not in a negative way, but there's a lot of new songs that are more complex and sophisticated, and A, I need to get those guys to play them and bring it to the world, and B, I need to look to their happiness and their own evolution, think about motivating them, and think about making material that suits that group so that I'm not forcing them to slog uphill through the snow every time we rehearse. If I start to write things with their aptitudes and everything in mind, then you plug and play. And it's a little bit, kind of like the skiff where we don't practice much. Everyone's in their comfort zone and it operates from there. My project, the FD and the Wizards of the West, is a little different. I think that I got a lot of songs that have a lot of changes and a lot of orchestration, and those guys are good about it. We've had every gig we've had's had very positive results. There's been maybe 8 gigs or something.
Can you talk about raising spiritual or raising vibrations through sound?
Yeah.
This is absolutely vital in the time that we're living in, and I'm going off more field than understand. So
Raising vibrations through sound is basically, you can think about it that way, which is good, but then the workaround I use is really to consider finding harmony with the flow of the universe and the vibrations existing in natural patterns and the tendency towards love, discovery, and joy that's innate in all things. Anything that gets in the way of that is really an opportunity. But having that mindset is not easy when you're faced with adversity, and especially if food, clothing, and shelter are compromised, it's tough. But anyways, that is not a musical note. So that's a low note. Let's say that's you feeling kind of even. Let's say that was whatever. Well, there's an octave of that. Now I feel happy, but more than happy, hey, I'm laughing, I'm smiling. Hey, I'm really happy, I'm feeling ecstatic. Hey, I'm blissed. What comes next? So, if you're really to think about the fact that there's harmonics of joy, octaves of bliss, if you can look at scales of frequencies, you know them from your own emotional state, you can start to play with them like a musician. But not being a slave to your moods, in the West especially, is tricky. So a lot of people adopt practices from the East, like Taoism and things, to help you find a center and flow with the universe. But consciously raising the vibration is as simple as not accepting negativity and honoring joy as your birthright, to the effect that you are able to come into a situation and raise it up. You're able to play music and have it improve or scientifically increase the joy factor. And that happens by finding examples that you like, studying nature, and other humans who you dig, as you say,
What do you study in nature? I mean, what senses are you tuning into?
I would say when you get out of the city and you're in nature, it's not just about getting away from it all. It's about your own processes as part of something we're not separate from. And that becomes more evident just when you open up to the sensations you experience, when you start listening to what the wind and the animals and the trees are doing, when your olfactory kicks in. Hopefully you're barefoot and you're feeling it through your feet.
Olfactory.
Yeah.
I dig.
The olfactory that is Earth is still cranking out the hits. Like my friend just posted a picture up in Ojai of a babbling brook. And, we have some friends who do psychedelic light shows, Mad Alchemy, Liquid Alchemy, and all these guys. And this little part of the creek was like a master performance in sound, in like color, in movement. And so those things inspired Beethoven. There's butterflies and birds outside the window. And I would say that it's mainly like a channel. We're either busy with our earthly duties or we get a break. And if we're really lucky, the two become together, and that's our function,
You said that some of our musical heroes were forged by fires that didn't necessarily nourish the soul, that they were petrified into success or to be driven. Who specifically in your who's someone you think of when you made that statement?
Well, I don't know if I want to call them out, but give me a second. I'm gonna try and pull that one around.
Or it could have been somebody, an older guard cat, not one of your peers. I'm saying that people that you maybe just through research and stuff. It was fascinating because some of the most individualistic, gifted, successful artists were, as you said, forged by the fires that didn't nourish the soul.
Well, I don't actually think that. I think that there's a little catch there. That's why you see me looking up at my brain for help. Help me.
Well, no, I mean, that was just you riffing poetry in our first interview, but that, go ahead, yeah.
No, the difference there, I don't think the fire that forged them, like the difficulties of it was the side effect, but I'm talking mainly about some of our favorite groups like the Beach Boys and the Jacksons. It wasn't this. It was the fact that they were encouraged to practice and focus on that exclusively. That was the blessing. It wasn't if they got yelled at or not treated well that caused their gifts to grow. That was a unfortunate side product of being encouraged and given focus, and someone saying, "Yeah, practice every day," and that's what was the impetus. So I guess that's why I wanted to go on that distinction. It wasn't the difficulties are unfortunate, but what made them great was the time spent and actually having fun with it. Those Beach Boys songs are filled with light, and love.
Exactly, but in most cases, people that are raised like that tend to burn out if they're being pushed to.
Yeah. And that's why now, if you're out there and you're in a band and you're in a band with a creative genius and the record company is about to shelf their pet sounds and go with the greatest hits and all that stuff, you maybe this time we've seen someone get chewed up a little bit and it won't happen again. That's why I say it's better you get that timeless record, and maybe for 300 years, everyone or more, that album is the one. But I think if we're in a position not to let our artists or anyone just get destroyed in the name of art, some artists would say, "Dave, whatever, bro, you suck," because they think that fire is good. I heard Diego Rivera once said, "Happiness is for amateurs." So I think that you got to allow the full pantheon of human experience. But since I'm on Facebook Live, I'm all for the love in the now.
Yeah, well, this cat just said he was about to give the Piffle Sayers its first spin on the turntable when this interview popped up, dude. So can you talk about just going from, it was all kind of first album was Cass's material, and then basically he opening it up to you and Neely and sort of was that.
Piffle Sayers is the stepping stone between, and for the fellow about to play it, that's great, man. I think Blessing in Disguise, that was the first take. And so
one take.
Yeah, that song is sort of a deep hidden gem on the Piffle Sayers to me. And also, I got trained to sing the high parts of that Irish balladry with Johnny Todd, which is good practice. Johnny Todd, he took an ocean for to cross the ocean wide. It was very fun. I've gotten better at it.
Love
since
that tune, yeah.
But at the time of recording it, I was like, man, what are you trying to make me do right now, man? You know. And now when we go out, I love it, man. Fair young maid, are you a weepin' for your Johnny gone to sea? Those aren't light lyrics. That's like the heaviest stuff on earth, man. You're gonna go sailing and leave your new bride back at home. They say marry her before you go. But those songs, the charm of them, there's pain and light and humor. It's a real thing, man. It's fun. Cass's enthusiasm for timeless tunes has really spread to me, for sure, and I'm sure the rest of the band.
You've been a radio host before?
Yeah, KXLU.
Can you share a great story of you in your journalism bag, like an interview you did, or just something very spontaneous and creative that really was great, because you definitely have.
I had some influences on me. Right around the time of his Odelay record, Beck came on my show, and in LA at that age, his music around the time of Loser was empowering to everybody, because he used cassettes. It just was like, there's no reason you can't do anything, and so he was a big deal. And when he came on the radio, he played a song, and I had explosion sounds on some records, and he would call out explosion solo, and I'd put in all this crazy stuff, because they happened to be rebuilding the station. So while we were doing the interview, you'd hear like they'd be like riveting something together in the background. That was good. And another thing that influenced me a lot when I was around 19, the group Brian Jonestown Massacre came on my show, and Anton Newcomb is a interesting guy, man. We were both from Newport Beach and both loved 60s music, which is interesting. In the 90s, when you loved 60s music, there had already been cool LA bands in the 80s who loved 60s music, and so we were already figuring out how we were in the 90s and really digging that stuff. And of course, those guys, the Brian Jonestown guys, also loved Spaceman 3 and a lot of the cool music from England. So that visit actually,
wow,
and Greg Shaw and Bomp Records had a big impact on me before I had a band like that of my own.
Like, can you talk about how important it is to have a place to gig at every day? The name's escaping me now, but there was a club in LA where I believe Beachwood really had a chance to shed. You played a lot.
Well, it was a weekly residency, but
what was the name of the club?
That was Spaceland, now called the Satellite.
So it's now the Satellite, and a residency consists of 2 sets a night, 6 nights a week, or?
No, 1 night a week.
Oh, just
for 1 month.
That's not what Ahmad Jamal had at Pershing, in Chicago. That was 6 months of straight.
No.
So it was just once a week, okay.
But it, the energy around those shows was pretty massive for us at the time, and we kind of had a visual fashion element as well as musical, and we were pulling cool influences in that first version of Beachwood Sparks. So it had a lot of flash, and those shows and the after parties, or whatever you want to call them, the people who were there and all together was heavy. That was a forgery of sorts. Not forgery like faking a signature, like a forge where you make a sword or something, or it was the blacksmith's bellows that created our thing, man.
The original scene was young cats, young girls.
No, there were people. We had some characters from the '60s who were around. We had there was people of all ages.
Then where did the fashion thing come in? What was that inspired by?
Just everybody was young and skinny and wearing the clothes. It was a mix of the '60s, kind of the Byrds look, with the trends of that time and what cool English bands were looking like. It's funny to talk about it because I ended up wearing dashikis and things after a couple years.
Right.
But at the time, it was like 517 Levi's and flash gear, man, and I'm glad I was part of that. I am. I'm glad I had what it took for a while.
The can you talk about your experiences with Native American spiritualism and also ayahuasca, if at all?
Yeah, I went to Peru and had an incredible experience, a heart awakening and an earth awakening, and
Can we go through what was the Earth awakening?
I just saw the rapidity with which life was being canceled out, negated, poisoned, suffocated, desecrated, destroyed, dug out, burnt out, built over, and laid waste to. You know, what have they done to the earth? What have they done to our fair sister? Ravaged, plundered, raped her and did her, stuck her with knives in the side of the dawn, tied her with fences, and dragged her down. So I experienced just what that means, not as something at arm's length. I saw. And the question put to me was, so what else do you have to do right now, knowing that's what's happening to the earth and her creatures? What side are you on, Brother Dave? Because you clearly care and you're able to see. So I was in the jungle in a kind of I don't want to say I got knighted, but I decided what I am going to live for, and nothing will change that. Even my own dumb self making so many mistakes as they were, I serve all life, I serve the earth, and I serve future generations, and the rest is circumstantial.
The hardening awakening was what?
Heart awakening.
No, you said you had a heart awakening and a nature awakening.
Yeah. The ayahuasca medicine showed me just how much pain I carried, just how many closed off parts of me there were, just to be me every day. And that's why you gotta want to pursue that road. It's not that it's scary or it's too trippy. It's that we're built up. We carry what our family carried. We carry so much. And even some of the best of us who are happy all day, have everything in a row. It takes a while to learn, to open the heart to new levels of understanding. And it hurts. It's painful work in a lot of ways because you can't front on that. And I think that's where a lot of our, no, definitely not naming names, but that's where a lot of us run into trouble. As groovy as we may be artists, musicians, heads of household, or young students, but when it comes to coming right with what's really inside of you and learning how to actually feel, our culture isn't always offering, very clear instructions on those initiations. So it can be tough, man, and I think substance abuse is a big part of people's greatness, finding ways to medicate so they can be great without all that pain. And they don't see a way to echo and mirror who they really are in the lives around them. Some people, myself included, you almost even feel like you're drowning surrounded by friends. And it's not everyone's story who's watching this right now. But I do think that some of the Native American traditions I learned, and I'm by no means an expert, but it has a lot to do with understanding rite of passage, initiation, and right relationship, and that doesn't come easy if you've learned a whole other way. And it's not just the ego thing. It has a lot to do with taking the time to answer what's in here, and that's what'll get you through every time. You end up laughing, not frowning, when you're talking about this work. And a lot of the people who are having their guts wrenched open the most by not just plant medicines, but by all the healing modalities, I'm coming across a lot more these days of sound healings and meditations and things that once you start to learn how to clear it, you're like a warrior. And I've seen a lot of empowered people who are on that path and not consumed by it, but are able to look at things and it's not fixed. The things they're not happy with about their job, themselves, their spouses, it's not like the old days when it didn't work and you're going to cut and run. There's more tools now. I would say that to conclude this question, I got more tools to be in service by making that intention, and that the road starts to clear. Next thing you know, man, Jake Feinberg's in your room, asking you a question. It's really
going deep into the well.
This wasn't happening a year ago. That shift for me led to a lot of new adventure, and it's expanding a lot. I think that the earth and the universe is ready to help anyone who wants to play ball, man. Anyone. Every single person, unless they're like born into a place where they can't even like go on a computer and stuff, is welcome to learn and grow. And those of us who are free enough to do it can do it to help the other places and people who might need our help right now.
For people out there that are taking this in, and how does Farmer Dave access the love wave?
Some days he doesn't. He's
Absolutely.
a total jerk to hang out with. I think.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm getting at is just, is it the ocean? Is it nature? How do you basically go back to your true nature? What's the best way for you?
I would say it's a combination of music, intention, and trusting the people around me, even if they seem difficult. Trust that I'm not going to say, oh, this person's terrible, I need another person. Unless they're like so toxic that it's unhealthy. Not everyone's going to nourish you what you need. I also go to ancient texts. I like the Bhagavad Gita. I like the Bible. I like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And I'm also studying. I'm studying with under the lineage of Yogananda. There's some teachings there about yoga and energy exercises that some days when I'm just feel like the biggest jerk studying that stuff, it's like even if it's just that much I'm able to take with me, it helps, man. So I think those modalities are great, and hopefully your choices can frame the kind of life that you want to thrive in before too long. But you have to start asking the questions,
Before we wrap, why do you love hearing Neely's voice so much on the new album? I mean, what are people in for in store? I mean, because Cass really opened the floodgates for you and Neely.
He did indeed.
The floodgates of love.
Yeah, that's right, man. It is a floodgate of love, and it's we're gonna be surfing it very soon.
Yeah, baby.
I'm stoked on that record. I would say that Neil has a beautiful, clear tone, an angelic presence, ultimately, and he's been a killer. He's made his own records. I've played on some of those too, but I've known him the most as a harmonist and supporter, where he changes his tone, gets into what someone's doing, and makes this killer harmony, So when he's on board, I know that things go up a notch, in the sense that that tone of his, it flies out. And yeah, man, he made a song that's in part dedicated to a brother of ours, the song You'll Miss It, which is really great. And the song he sings for, that Cass wrote for him, Los Angeles Alleyways, is a lot of fun too.
Angelic in the sense that, why do you use that term?
Well, anytime someone says, oh, they sing like an angel, it's just
sing
how
like
it affects you.
Yeah, I dig. Can we finish with railroading some? I feel like I've been doing that quite a bit.
Oh, that's so funny, man. Somebody texted me that song today. Find that kind of strange.
I mean, the last month I've been New Orleans, New York, LA. I mean, Santa Fe. So and I hear that tune the other day coming back from a Grateful Shred Mapache gig in New York, and you were just belting out all those different cities, and maybe you want to play it. You can say no. Let's wrap with something to get on the love wave, and then because it's been an honor to hang, man. And,
I got something else for you.
Farmer Dave Scher.
Let's see here. I have to build the sound, so what I think I would build is vibraphone. but I want to make it a little bit quieter. I like that there's like a drum on too, and I don't know where. Well, it's just gonna be part of it.
Chimes of freedom.
Yeah, it's like going. Da, 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 da. Okay. I also haven't played this song. Stop traveling. Painful worries torture me while Mother Nature calls to me. This is where Cass and Neil will do the guitar solo on the recording. So I'm gonna leave the space.
The Skiffle Man.
Yeah, they play a beautiful guitar solo right here. Wild told me fear, got me deaf, dumb, and blind. Yet for the treasures of all time at our feet, staring through the window. No, I choose to love. 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 Say the prayer for the skiffle man. Sings the song for everyone. Crying for the people to be free. River flowing, always sun run shining.
The Skiffle Man.
I haven't tried to play that in months.
Farmer Dave Scher. I can't wait to do it again, man. I had a ball with you, brother.
Yeah, hello everybody. That was great, man. Don't tell anyone about Skiffle Man. It doesn't come out yet.
Toothpaste is out of the tube.
Shoot.
It's the Jake Feinberg Show. Much love to all out there. Keep the high vibrations high.
Peace and love.